prohibit public gatherings within 100 meters of key institutions, namely Parliament, courts, protected areas under the Protected Areas Act, prescribe penalties for violations, not to criminalize protests, but to protect lives and infrastructure. The judicial precedent. Honourable members, the bill is not only constitutionally grounded, it also fulfills judicial guidance. In Gunjiri Wambugu versus Inspector General of Police and others in 2019, the High Court directed that the Inspector General and Cabinet Secretary of Interior formulate or amend laws and regulations to ensure demonstrations were peaceful, well managed, and well held in designated zones to protect public order. The bill enforces that ruling. When we look at Kenya, I really have to commend Judy for all the research that she's done and the examples that she's given across Africa. Countries around the world balance the right to protest and the need to preserve public safety. In the US, there are free speech zones at political events. In Great Britain, UK and Scotland, buffer zones around clinics and courts. Let me explain about the buffer zones in the UK especially. We know that in the UK, safe abortions are legal. And anyone has a right to have an abortion. So what was happening is when people who were against safe abortion were beginning to actually have demonstrations around the clinics that offer this, they were doing two things wrong. One, they were blocking the entrance of people who wanted to go and procure a safe abortion. Two, they were actually also interfering with the privacy of the person who was actually going to that clinic. So they actually created a law that created a buffer zone so that the patients could go in with the privacy that they needed and also with the safety that was required. And also the nurses and doctors that were working in those clinics were also under attack. So the law was put in place to protect them. In Turkey prohibits demonstrations within 1 kilometer of parliament. Europe, many European countries restrict protests near sensitive public institutions. This is not a suppression, it is structure. It is not silence, it is safeguard. Honourable members, let me be clear. The bill is not an attempt to muzzle dissent. It is a measure to ensure that protests are not hijacked by violence and that no Kenyan, be it a protester, a police officer, a bystander, suffers unjustly in the exercise of a right. Order is not the enemy of democracy, it is the foundation. We must protect the Republic from disorder and ensure that the exercise of one's right does not become the infringement of another's safety. I urge this committee to support the bill, not for the government, not for Parliament, but for every Kenyan who values peace, justice, and the rule of law.